Once again, we will be with you by introducing one of the provinces of Iran. In this program, we want to introduce Yazd province. Due to the historical and ancient history of this province, we will introduce it in two parts. Please stay with us for the first part. Yazd is the capital of Yazd province, Iran. The city is located 270 kilometers southeast of Isfahan. It is currently the 15th largest city in Iran. Since 2017, the historical city of Yazd was recognized as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. Because of generations of adaptations to its desert surroundings, Yazd has a unique Persian architecture. It is nicknamed the City of Windcatchers. The name was given from Yazgird Awwal, a Sassanid ruler of Persia. The city has been a center for Zoroastrianism since the 3rd century AD. The word Yazd means God. After the Arab conquest of Iran, many Zoroastrians migrated to Yazd from neighboring provinces. Because of its remote desert locations and the difficulty of access, Yazd remained largely immune to large battles and the destruction and ravages of war. For instance, it was a haven for those fleeing from destruction in other parts of Persian Empire during the Mughal invasion. Yazd has a hot desert climate. It is the driest major city in Iran, with nearly having only 23 days of precipitation, which is a total of 49 millimeters. With summer temperatures very frequently above 40 degrees in Celsius and blazing sunshine with no humidity. Even at night, the temperatures in summer are rather uncomfortable. In the winter, the days remain mild and sunny. But in the morning, the thin air and low cloudiness cause cold temperatures that can sometimes fall well below 0 degrees Celsius. Most of the people of Yazd are Persians, and they speak Persian with a Yazdi accent which is different from the Persian accent of Tehran. The majority of people in Yazd are Muslims. There is also a sizable population of Zoroastrians in the city. Always known for the quality of its silk and carpets, Yazd today is one of Iran's industrial centers for textiles. In 1272, it was visited by Marco Polo, who remarked on the city's fine silk weaving industry. Yazd is an important center of Persian architecture. Because of its climate, it has one of the largest networks of qanats in the world, and Yazdi qanat markets are considered the most skilled in Iran. A qanat or karis is a gently sloping underground channel to transport water from a water well to the surface for irrigation and drinking, acting as an underground watercourse. Traditionally, it is recognized that the qanat technology was invented in ancient Iran, sometime in the early 1st millennium BCE, and spread from the slowly westward and eastward. Accordingly, some sources state qanats were invented in Iran before 1000 BCE and as far as back as 3000 BCE. The city is also home to prime examples of yakhchals, which were used to store ice retrieved from glaciers in the nearby mountains. Yakhchal is an ancient type of evaporative cooler. Above ground, the structure had a domed shape but had underground storage space. It was often used to store ice, but sometimes was used to store food as well. The subterranean space, coupled with the thick heat-resistant construction material, insulated the storage space year-round. These structures were mainly built and used in Persia. Many that were built hundreds of years ago remain standing. This part of the city consists of several ancient neighborhoods like Fahodan neighborhood with narrow streets and spectacular mosques. The view of the city in the evening from the rooftops when the reddish hue of sunlight finds its way through the towers of wind catchers is breathtaking. The mysterious mud brick houses and their domes are like a maze belonging to decades and centuries ago. That is called the blowing of the spirit. To deal with the extremely hot summers, many old buildings in Yazd have magnificent wind towers and large underground areas. A wind catcher is a traditional architectural element used to create natural ventilation and passive cooling in buildings. Wind catchers come in various designs: unidirectional, bidirectional, and multidirectional. Wind catchers are widely used in North Africa and in West Asian countries around the Persian Gulf, and have been for the past 3,000 years. In Iran, a wind catcher is called a badgir. The devices were used in Achaemenid architecture. In Iran, they are used in the hot, dry areas of the Central Plateau and in the hot, humid coastal regions. Wind catchers tend to have 1, 4, or 8 openings. In the city of Yazd, all wind catchers are 4 or 8-sided. Mirza Muhammad Farrokhi Yazdi was an Iranian poet, journalist, and senior politician of the Reza Pahlavi era. In 1921, he published the political newspaper Tufan, winning fame for his poetry and constant attacks against Reza Pahlavi in his editorials. Authorities under Reza Pahlavi's dictatorship sewed his lips due to his pointed poet. Finally, in 1939, he was sentenced to prison at Tehran's Qasr prison and died by air injection under Dr. Ahmad Ahmadi. Yazd Water Museum was set up in 2000 in the wake of the first international conference on Qanat in Yazd. The museum building has once been a merchant's house named Kolahduza, built in 1929. The stunning 5-story design of the house is what distinguishes it from other houses in Yazd. It is built of clay, brick, plaster, and wood with residential spaces covering 3 wings around the courtyard. The southern part holds a beautiful hall decorated with fine mirror work. This museum displays the techniques used for the past 4,000 years in Iran in creating underground waterways called qanats and connecting them to the city and field locations for agriculture and other uses. Before the Romans built their watercourses, Iranians had built an extensive system of underground qanats. A lot of these systems are still functioning today. In fact, there is a large one under this museum. The Amir Chakmak Complex. The Amir Chakmak Complex is a prominent structure in Yazd, noted for its symmetrical Sunnic alcoves. It is a mosque located on a square of the same name. At night, the building is lit up after twilight hours after sunset with orange lighting in the arch alcoves, which makes it a scene. Alexander's prison in Yazd Fahodan. Located in the old Fahodan neighborhood, the structure of Alexander's prison, alongside its clay dome tinted with golden and azure watercolor, is a mysterious place. The place is actually a combination of a school and a mosque and has nothing to do with prison or Alexander the Great. However, many believe that the school was named Alexander's prison from the reference Hafiz has dropped in his poem about this area. There are several people who believe that the beautiful room in the underground, or perhaps the well to the Qanat, used to be a dungeon built by Alexander the Great. Fire Temple of Yazd. What's unique about Yazd and its religious attractions in its exceptional Zoroastrian pilgrimage sites such as the Fire Temple, Tower of Silence, and the Chakchak village, among which the Fire Temple is the most notable and honored among Zoroastrians. This extraordinary structure, with its flower carvings and the great Faravahar symbol, standing high up the entrance to this place, has housed a fire that is assumed to be burning since the 5th century. The building itself reflects through the clear surface of an oval pool among a beautiful garden and dates back to pre-Islamic era. Tower of Silence of Yazd. Another significant place to Zoroastrian pilgrims is Dakhmeh Zartoshtian, where two stone hollow structures stand on hills near the city. This place has been the city of the dead for centuries. Daulat Abad Garden in Yazd. One of the 9th Persian gardens inscripted in UNESCO-listed gardens, Daulat Abad Garden is the place in which the highest windcatcher of the world has soared up among the cypress trees. The reflection of the Hashti Pavilion and its 33-meter-high windcatcher on the surface of the water is being restored by a number of fountains in the middle of the desert. The small pavilion, with its exceptional architecture and its complicated stained glass windows, has been a residence to Karim Khan Zand. Jame Mosque of Yazd. Standing in glory and beauty with its two significant high minarets, Jame Mosque of Yazd is a great work of Iranian Islamic architecture. Dominating the old city, this magnificent building has a tiled entrance portal that is one of the largest in Iran, flanked by two magnificent 48-meter-high minarets and adorned with an inscription from the 15th century. The exquisite mosaics on the dome and mihrab and the tiles above the main western entrance to the courtyard are particularly stunning. The Gardune-mehr used on the tiles symbolizes infinity, timelessness, birth and death, and can be found on Iranian buildings dating back as early as 5000 BC. Thank you for being with us. Next time we will continue with other parts of Yazd province.